World events in 1808. USA. End of international slave trade. The act prohibiting the importation of slaves officially ended the foreign slave trade on January 1, 1808. James Madison elected president. James Madison won the presidential election against Charles Pinckney. Founding of the American Fur Company. John Jacob Astor founded the American Fur Company on April 6th. Anthracite coal discovery. Jesse Fell burned anthracite coal as fuel in Wilkes-Barre, Pennsylvania, on February 11th. Osage tribe cedes lands. The Osage tribe agreed to cede lands in Missouri and Arkansas in exchange for a reservation in Oklahoma. Peninsular War begins. Napoleon's invasion of Spain sparked the Peninsular War in the Iberian Peninsula. Australia. In 1808, a key event in Australian history was the Rum Rebellion, where the New South Wales Corps, led by Major George Johnston, deposed Governor William Bligh. This coup, which took place on January 26, 1808, was fueled by a combination of factors, including Bligh's actions against the Corps and their monopoly on the illicit rum trade. Canada. David Thompson continued his exploration of the Canadian interior, charting the Kootenay River. Simon Fraser embarked on a journey down the Fraser River, hoping to find a new route to the Pacific. The American Fur Company, founded by John Jacob Astor, entered the fur trade scene, aiming to compete with Canadian fur traders. Military legislation. The Upper Canada Militia Act was passed, requiring all males between 16 and 60 years old to enroll in the militia and attend annual training. This act also allowed for Upper Canadian militia units to be deployed in Lower Canada during emergencies. Religious discrimination. The Legislative Assembly of Quebec criticized the swearing-in of Ezekiel Hart, a Jewish member, and ultimately voted for his expulsion due to his religious affiliation. Mexico. Napoleon's invasion of Spain. Napoleon forced King Charles IV of Spain to abdicate, replacing him with his brother Joseph Bonaparte. Increased political unrest. The change in the Spanish monarchy prompted questioning of the colonial government's legitimacy and led to growing disaffection among colonists. Viceroy Iturrigaray's deposition. Viceroy José de Iturrigaray, who was considered pro-Creole, was overthrown in a coup d'état by Peninsular Spaniards, further highlighting the political conflict between the two groups. Brazil. Arrival of the Portuguese royal court. The Portuguese royal court, escorted by British ships, arrived in Brazil, establishing Rio de Janeiro as the capital of the Portuguese Empire. Opening of Brazilian ports. Dom John VI, the Prince Regent, later King John VI, opened Brazilian ports to friendly nations, primarily Great Britain, ending the mercantilist system that had restricted trade to Portugal. Establishment of the Banco do Brasil. The Banco do Brasil was founded to finance the public debt of the Portuguese kingdom. Founding of the Rio de Janeiro Botanical Garden. The Rio de Janeiro Botanical Garden was established by Dom John VI. Liberal reforms. The transfer of the court to Brazil led to liberal reforms and cultural development. Colombia. Junta Formation. As Spanish authority weakened, Creoles, people born in Spanish America, and Peninsular Spaniards, Spaniards born in Spain, formed juntas in various cities across Spanish America to govern in the name of Ferdinand VII. Creole influence in New Granada. In New Granada, Creoles, particularly in Bogotá, played a significant role in establishing and controlling juntas. This contrasted with some other locations like Mexico City and Montevideo, where Peninsular Spaniards controlled the juntas. Spanish Constitution of 1808. This constitution, though not fully implemented in New Granada, was a theoretical framework for governing the Spanish Empire, which would later be superseded by the Constitution of 1812 during the Spanish Reconquest. Chile. In 1808, a key event in Chilean history unfolded with the formation of the first government junta of Chile, which occurred in response to the Peninsular War in Spain. The instability in Spain prompted Chilean leaders to take matters into their own hands. The first government junta of Chile was formed to govern in the absence of a clear authority from Spain. Declaration of Independence. While the junta was formed in 1808, Chile's full declaration of independence came later, on September 18, 1810. Alliance with the Argentine Army of the Andes. During this period, Bernardo O'Higgins played a crucial role in forming an alliance with the Argentine Army of the Andes, aiming to use the conquest of Chile as a stepping stone to take Lima in Peru. In 1808, Napoleon invaded the Iberian Peninsula and took the king, Ferdinand VII, hostage. Later, in 1812, the Cádiz Cortes, the National Legislative Assembly of Spain, promulgated a liberal constitution of Cádiz. Norway. Dano-Swedish War, 1808 to 1809. Denmark-Norway, allied with France, found itself at war with Sweden, which was allied with the United Kingdom. This conflict led to several battles fought within Norway. Battle of Lier, April 18, 1808. A significant battle between Swedish and Norwegian forces during the invasion. Battle of Trengen, April 25, 1808. A Norwegian victory where Swedish troops were captured. Several other battles took place throughout the year, including the Battle of Rodens, Battle of Furuholm, Battle of Kristiansund, and Battle of Alvøen. Sweden. Russo-Swedish War. The war began with Russian troops invading Finnish territory on February 21, 1808. Key battles. Several battles took place in Finland, including the Battle of Pulkkila, May 2nd, Battle of Pyhäjoki, April 16th, and Battle of Sikajoki, April 18th. Siege of Sveaborg. A naval siege of the Swedish fortress of Sveaborg also occurred in March. Elisa Servinius. A Swedish woman, Elisa Servinius, participated in the Finnish war dressed as a man and was later recognized for her bravery. First school for the deaf and mute. Per Ehrenborg founded the first school for the deaf and mute in Sweden. Battle of Palvasund. This naval battle took place on September 18th. Germany. Congress of Erfurt, September 27th to October 14th. This meeting in Erfurt, Thuringia, Central Germany, was attended by the emperors of France and Russia, as well as many German sovereigns. Fichte's Addresses to the German Nation, April. This book by the Prussian philosopher Johann Gottlieb Fichte was delivered at the Prussian Academy of Sciences in Berlin and sparked significant discussion about German nationalism. Goethe's Faust, Part 1, published. This major literary work by Johann Wolfgang von Goethe was published in its entirety in Tübingen. Beethoven Concert, December 22nd. Beethoven conducted and played at a benefit concert in Vienna, which included the first public performances of his Symphony No. 5, Symphony No. 6, Piano Concerto No. 4, and Choral Fantasy. Carl Friedrich Gauss, publication. The German mathematician published Theorematis Arithmeticae Demonstratio Nova, which introduced Gauss's lemma. Italy. Annexation of the Papal States and Tuscany. Napoleon annexed the Papal States, including Rome and Tuscany, to the Kingdom of Italy. Joachim Murat becomes King of Naples. Napoleon replaced his brother Joseph with Joachim Murat as King of Naples. French troops in Rome. French troops entered Rome, marking the beginning of French control over the city. Incorporation of Italian duchies. The Italian duchies of Parma, Piacenza, and Tuscany were incorporated into the French Empire, becoming departments of Toro, Arno, Mediterranean, and Ombrone. Portugal. February 1808. French troops under General Ginandoci Junot invaded Portugal, sparking the Peninsular War. Junot was appointed Governor-General of Portugal. June 1808. A council of war was held in Lisbon, with Junot and his generals deciding to abandon northern and southern Portugal for a defense of central Portugal. August 1, 1808. British troops, led by Sir Arthur Wellesley, later the Duke of Wellington, landed in Portugal at Mondego Bay. August 17, 1808. The Battle of Roliça, the first major battle of the Peninsular War, saw British and Portuguese forces defeat French troops. August 21, 1808. Sir Arthur Wellesley won a decisive victory against Junot's French army at the Battle of Vimeiro, near Lisbon. August 30, 1808. The Convention of Sintra, an agreement between British and French commanders, allowed the French to evacuate Portugal. Iran. Russo-Persian War. The war was marked by various battles and military campaigns. In 1808, the siege of Yerevan saw the Persians successfully defend their fortress, forcing the Russians to retreat after a 6-week siege. Alliance with France. Persia, under Fath Ali Shah, sought an alliance with Napoleon, hoping to gain support against Russia. A Franco-Persian alliance was formed, but it ultimately proved ineffective as Napoleon made peace with Russia. Seeking British support. Persia also sought support from Britain, but Britain initially refused, claiming the agreement with Persia was for a French, not a Russian attack. Later, Britain did send John Malcolm to Persia, promising support, but then changed its mind and asked Persia to retreat. Internal affairs. The Qajar dynasty was in power during this time, and Fath Ali Shah was the reigning monarch. Fath Ali Shah is also credited with founding the city of Iraq, originally called Salanabad, in 1808. Saudi Arabia, the first Saudi state. In 1808, the first Saudi state, led by Abdulaziz bin Muhammad, was in a period of expansion and consolidation, particularly in the Najd region. Russian annexation of Finland. By the end of 1808, Russia had effectively occupied Finland, and in December, Tsar Alexander I declared it part of the Russian Empire. India. Capture of Serampore and surrender of Tranquebar. These events marked British expansion and consolidation of control in the region. British military campaigns. The British East India Company continued its military campaigns, leading to victories against Tipu's Sultan of Mysore, the Marathas, and eventually the subjugation of the Sikhs. Establishment of the East India Company's Navy. The East India Company's victory at the Battle of Savali led them to establish a small navy to protect their commercial interests and secure their position in the region. British rule and the rise of the Raj. The British rule in India became known as the Raj, which was derived from the Sanskrit term Raja meaning king. Impact of the British presence. British traders often made fortunes in India and were sometimes referred to as nabobs. Japan. The Phaeton Incident. The HMS Phaeton, a British warship, entered Nagasaki harbor under the pretext of searching for Dutch ships. The captain demanded supplies, but the Japanese authorities refused, fearing any contact with foreigners. Afghanistan. In 1808, Shah Shuja Durrani was the king of Afghanistan. In Afghanistan, a significant event was the arrival of Mount Stuart Elphinstone's diplomatic mission, marking the beginning of British-Afghan relations. Africa. Establishment of the West Africa Squadron. The British Royal Navy created the West Africa Squadron to patrol the African coast and enforce the abolition of the slave trade. This squadron played a key role in suppressing the illegal slave trade. Nigeria. Founding of the Sokoto Caliphate. The Sokoto Caliphate, a major Islamic state in northern Nigeria, was founded by Usman Dan Fodio in 1804. The Fulani War, 1804 to 1808, was a key phase in its establishment, as the Fulani people, under Usman Dan Fodio's leadership, fought to establish a new Islamic state. Gwoni Mukhtar's actions. In 1808, Gwoni Mukhtar, a prominent figure in the Sokoto Caliphate, played a role in the ongoing conquest of the city of Birnin Gazargamu, which was previously ruled by Muhammad. Did you know about any of these events? Were they related to your country? Please let us know in the comments. Thank you.